Coming out to you from the KMSU studios inside Hartnett Hall at Minot State University, this is the Minot Sports Podcast, welcoming you guys to another episode. It is December 4th, and happy Friday, Minot Sports fans. I'm your host each and every episode, Cole Clementich, and we are back with the MSU Athlete series, where we recognize and highlight some of the athletes here on campus that were affected by either season cancellations and whatnot due to challenges that we have been facing in these hard times. Before we get started, we just want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the podcast, and that is KMSU TV and radio. We are always very fortunate to use their studios to record and get behind the microphone every opportunity that we get. Stay connected with the Minot Sports Podcast and KMSU on social media. Check out our content spanning between Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Like I mentioned, guys, just now, we are back with another episode. This is the fourth installment of the MSU Athlete series, and this athlete specializes in softball. She's an outfielder and really makes it count when at the plate. Joining us now is Isis Cabral. Isis, thank you for being with us today. How are you doing currently during this holiday season?
Hello and thank you. I'm doing well, honestly. Everything's great. Practices are moving along and classes are flowing pretty well.
Yeah, and I see that MSU Athletics a couple months back here just got into athletics again. Just what was kind of that feeling for you during that stage of where there was no practices going on because of what we're dealing with right now with all the COVID cases on campus? What was that like to go through that?
Well, it was unfortunate to have season cut short this last spring. We started off hot, honestly, and we were projected to go pretty far with just how we started off the season. We had some wins under our belt and definitely had a solid weekend that last weekend out before things got shut down. But it definitely kept us up. We were looking forward to the year to come. We just saw it as time to get better. I knew for myself I was lucky enough to continue playing. We were granted as seniors another year of eligibility. Unfortunately, there were some other seniors that didn't have the chance to do so, and my heart goes out to them. But with my choice of coming back, it's amazing. It's great to see the girls develop and see where we've come so far. And although athletics were shut down, we still found ways to get extra work in on our own time.
Yeah, and especially when you're one of the older members of the team, it's good to see all the youth starting to spring up from the system and watching it all come together. And we'll have more on that coming up here pretty soon. But just another question on the cancellation in the spring. How tough was it to face the hardships of that season cancellation during last spring?
Well, it was unexpected. Although maybe in hindsight we knew it was inevitable, but just again how hot we came out, we were ready, we were determined, we had goals and plans, and we were putting in the work for it. So to have it cut short, it was unfortunate, but still, again, just our love for each other and trust in the process, we all just stuck to it and stuck to our core values as a team and have still come out on top with the season to come.
And how have you guys been able to stay active and busy from that point on to now? Just kind of what's the daily life for softball player currently here on campus?
Well, with this last fall, we're currently closing out. School ends in a few weeks, but the fall was pretty solid, honestly. We were able to use our strength and conditioning facilities throughout the semester. Although there are limitations and regulations we've followed, our strength coaches have still gotten us awesome programs. We've definitely developed physically and have developed some speed as well, which is amazing. Our assistant coaches have been phenomenal with providing us good work at practices, and hats off to our head coach. He's stuck through it. He's provided us with every opportunity, any drill, pretty much anything that we could need. He's definitely put in the work for it. And I do know from where we are, there are other teams in the conference where, unfortunately, where they can't practice how we have been. So that gives us a little bit of fire too, knowing that we have more practice in than most teams.
I'm not sure if I asked this question enough to just any athlete here on campus. What is it like to be practicing in an environment where there's no games happening? Like, how is it a weird feeling? What's your take on that?
Well, for my team, I don't feel as out of place with it. If anything, practices are a little odd where we wear masks now. We lift a mask by choice, but overall, we've definitely gotten in some team scrimmages, which has helped. But in terms of actually playing against other teams, it's interesting not having to have seen an opponent in 6+ months already. But that doesn't stop us. We're pretty on top of it when we do have inter-squad scrimmages. We take it just as serious as if it was another team in our conference. So it's a different vibe, but we still manage.
You bring up the inter-squad match. What was it like to be participating in that recent game and kind of that fun little, I forget what it was called, but it's kind of like that home run derby or
Oh, yeah.
trying to hit the ball onto the field. What was that like to be going through given the circumstances?
You know, so the scrimmage you're talking about, we did scrimmage, and then we had a hitathon after, which was awesome. I ended up winning it, which was interesting because there's
nice.
definitely players on my team who know, like, I know for a fact they can out-hit me, but on that day, I just was a little bit more prepared, I guess. But it was fun. We definitely get competitive with each other, so that keeps us full of life, and it's awesome to see for me just knowing these girls are ready to compete at all times, whether it's a conference game or just a little scrimmage. We take it serious every day, but we still have fun with it as well.
Yeah, awesome to hear that, and I like hearing about the fire and the spirit that the team has with each other. And you, like you said, you definitely showed out in that hitathon because you had an impressive 480 batting average in those 16 games last spring. What was your formula for success if you had one? What was kind of your thought process going up to bat every time?
Honestly, it's keeping it simple at the end of the day, and any advice I could give to the younger girls, it's just to keep it simple. Know your job, know that you don't have to hit the ball over the fence to have a quality at bat. There's so many factors that go into a good at bat, and as long as you simplify it, it'll make the job that much easier for you. And another thing is to just remember that you're doing it for something bigger than yourself. I didn't hit 480 for myself just to be able to boast about it. I hit 480 because I chose players throughout the year that really challenged me to be better at bat. And you can ask any of my teammates. I was batting ninth when we started off the year and ended up finishing batting with 480, as you said, and also in my coach's kind of meat of the lineup. So a lot of it is hard work, dedication, but also surrounding yourself with good quality people who push you. And I definitely know and tip my hat off to all my teammates because I wouldn't be where I am without them.
So you're batting ninth, and the way that you finished, how was there much work to get to where you were at that point, or was it just business as usual? You took your time, and then you got to where you are now. How'd you manage to do that, going from ninth to that really awesome batting average that you recorded?
A lot of it is work, hard work, and dedication. I know as athletes we can preach about it a lot. We want to be able to use those fancy words, but when it comes down to it, it's actually putting in the work and actually owning up to the dedication and taking accountability for it. I know in the fall I was not hitting well at all. It was so discouraging, honestly, but again, I surrounded myself with great teammates, and all of them are amazing. They were younger at the time, but we have a good chunk of upperclassmen now, and with them that year, they definitely pushed me. They kept my head up. They reminded me that every day can be different, every day can be better. And another good thing that we do is for my team, we do a Queen of the Cage challenge. And with that, it kind of pushes us to want to put in extra work outside of practice times during the fall. So I'd say that is one of the main things that drove me to putting in those extra hours. But with or without the challenge, I know these girls would put in the work just how they are. It's inspiring, honestly. And I'm honestly jealous. A lot of the girls are far more advanced at the age they are than I was at that time.
Tell us more about this Queen of the Cage challenge. Just What's it like on the softball team? That I know there's teams have their own practices, their own game day rituals, pre or post game stuff. What's this all about that softball has?
So the Queen of the Cage challenge is kind of just a competition amongst ourselves. We log in whether we do any defensive work, pitchers could log their pitching, any hitting or kind of maintenance or mobility, just all of it, any extra work you do outside of our scheduled practice times can go into the hours for the competition. We have kind of double hours for if you get live pitching in or give live pitching, any extra catching counts for double too. So it kind of is just adds a little bit more competition. How I said earlier, the girls are all competitive. We all get a little feisty and light a fire once there's some competition going on. So it's all for the good of the order, though. It definitely brings us closer, and essentially it's kind of like a little reward at the end for whoever wins.
Yep, you can't go wrong there. You're just building your connections even greater, and you're, of course, obviously working on your craft. So that's awesome to hear what the softball team has there. But kind of a little next thing, taking some time off. Rumor has it that you did not play during the 2019 season. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So usually when I see student athletes taking a break, it's have for them to more open themselves to free time for homework or studying due to a heavy class load. What were some of your influences on the decision, and just kind of what were some other obligations that you took up at that time?
Yeah, it's a little interesting. So it wasn't necessarily my choice. I did get cut from the team, so that's why I didn't play that year. But I still chose to finish out my undergraduate degree at Minot State. This place has been my home for years, and even though I didn't have softball, I still took it upon myself to just stay. I knew I had connections with my degree and my department, and still had love for my softball team at the end of the day. Even though I didn't get to play, I still kept working. As you said, people fulfill other obligations, but I still stuck with my courses. I actually changed my major, which was an interesting choice, but I chose to pursue graphic design, and without softball in the picture that year, it definitely gave me a chance to lock in. I took 11 classes that fall, got a 4.0 though.
There you go.
Took 8 more classes that next spring, and it pretty much put me on track to finish my degree in 5 years still, which was awesome. And that next year I got to play softball again. So in the midst of me going through that degree change, I was still practicing on my own. I would still go work with the local teams. I'm really close with one of the local youth organizations and definitely helped out there. Got into volunteering, so it was enlightening. It was fun. It definitely made me love the game more, though.
I want to talk about the local youth organizations here in a second, but that loyalty, how appreciative have the teammates and coaches have been with that?
Well, my teammates at the end of the day are my family. Regardless of if I was on the team or not, they definitely still showed love to me. They appreciated that I was at all the home games. Definitely was their number one fan. In a way, I always joked about it and said I was like a softball mom, but it was definitely fun. It was awesome seeing the girls that I helped recruit come in and just dominate. It was beautiful. Wouldn't have changed the process.
Awesome. So, like you mentioned just not too long ago, the local youth softball organizations here in town, I know the Storm have been very active on their front. I know Thor Nelson pretty well. He's doing a great job with all the softball protocol over there.
Yeah.
How much have you helped with the Minot Storm and maybe some other youth, and I guess some with help with the high school team? Is there what's that like for you?
Well, I love Thor as well. He's a great guy, and what he's done for softball and Minot is life-changing. Sports can change lives, honestly. I attest to that every day, and that's where my love for it comes from. But just being able to help out, we used to do, Thor would hold practices for the Storm girls after games a few years back in the bubble, and it's not the case now because of COVID, but it was definitely fun making those connections, having an influence on the girls in the community, and initially just spreading the love and spreading that camaraderie and family with softball. It's awesome to see the girls develop, and I've seen girls go off and play college ball that I helped out a few years ago that were just in high school. And as always, whenever Thor needs anything, I always come running. He's such a great guy. He's definitely played a huge role in my career here at Minot State, and I know I wouldn't be where I am without him.
Yeah, very good stuff. And assistant to Thor, he's must be fun to work with, from what I heard. And taking that time off to help him out, help the softball out here in town. When you made that return, it has clearly worked out well. And what was, I guess I can't really ask, what was the motivation to come back? I guess if that kind of applies, what was that motivation to come back, and how were you able to come back in the way where you just came out firing right out of the gates?
Well, it's interesting. I always knew I wanted to try and finish out softball. That's why that year, even though I didn't play, I was still determined to put in the work just in case. It always is good to just push for your dreams, and I knew with how I finished out my junior year that I wasn't done. I had more to give, and just working that year, sticking to my guns, and hoping for the best, honestly. If anything, I had unwavering faith at the end of the day, and luckily I did get asked back and just ran with it, trusted the process. We ended up getting a new coaching staff, which was amazing, honestly. I've experienced 3 different coaches in my time at Minot State, but have loved all of them, and I've learned a lot from every single one of them. I know I wouldn't be where I am without my initial coach that recruited me. Coach Triplett was awesome. Coach Fred was his assistant coach, and Fred Mueller still coaches in the Minot area. Still help him out as well. Learned a lot from them. The coaching staff after them, the Kivets, were awesome. They definitely pushed me mentally, but it was a sad kind of thing to see them go from that connection that we developed. But with Coach Wagner coming in this past year, just enlightened everything, brought a new life, new energy, new vibe, and has pushed us in a positive direction.
Yep, that loyalty pays off. And you mentioned Nat Wagner, who is now at the helm with this team. You oversaw the coaching change with them. How much was that an impact, not just for you, but for the entire roster at the time that change was made? And how has the team benefited from the recent success with Nat as the head coach?
Coach Wagner has definitely pushed the girls in an amazing direction. I know about half the team were not people that were recruited by Coach Wagner, but he definitely treats us as if we were. He knows and understands each player and what we need to be pushed to be the best that we can. He's had experience in our conference too, which is great. It's definitely helped us along the way. And with how I said earlier, a lot of the girls are upperclassmen now, so they understand what it is to be a Minot State athlete and what it takes to compete in this conference. And in turn, that's helping a lot with our younger girls as well. So all in all, I think it's a good combination. There's a lot of good things mixing up right now.
Oh, yeah. It seems like he's been getting all the best out of you guys, and you were actually on pace as a team to break records last spring until obviously it was cut short. But nonetheless, what does that say about the team, knowing you guys have that capability to get on base and then to do some damage with that moving forward?
You know, it's beautiful to see because our practices are pretty intense, honestly, in some cases, and it's awesome to play in games where we're running these plays and pushing the envelope, and all these things are just things we practice. So it's always great to see things that we practice translate into gameplay, and it's just great to see your teammates succeed every expectation you have, honestly. It's beautiful. I'm so proud of everything they've accomplished and where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, very well. Now that winter sports season is fast approaching, with games confirmed for the men's and women's basketball teams and the wrestling team as well. Hopefully, if that goes well as much as possible, it's likely that we are in fact looking at spring games. What would you say are the expectations, at least if we're hoping for a spring season, what are the expectations for the team this upcoming season?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I don't want to say picking up where we left off because I know we've exceeded that. I know we're far beyond where we were last year around that time. So I expect us to come out on top. I expect us to have that energy, that fire that we've developed over the last semester. But most of all, I feel like we'll be extremely close. Like, we're a family, and I feel this extra year off of playing games and playing in conference has definitely solidified that. But it's exciting. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and with the pace that you guys were going at last season, do you think there's a possibility that the team could top that? Obviously, I'm hearing good signs of that being the case. And if so, how would you guys be able to make that happen even?
I'd say just the experience. It sucks losing something that is so important to you. And in a way, I feel like the girls were given a new perspective of, we're told as athletes, play every game like it's your last. The last season was a prime example. We did not know that was going to be our last time playing, but yeah. We were finishing out pretty good. So I think with that, it's lit a fire with them to understand they need to have that intensity at all times, and good things will always come from it.
Yep, and you guys definitely showed up and showed out on the field this past season, although, again, the full season did not happen. But you guys are making great progress, and lots of good work for the team and for yourself on the field. Let's move into the classroom now. Now, this is a series where we promote the athletes, and we kind of got to start during the intro mentioning you're an outfielder for the softball team. What else are some interesting facts about you that others may not know? You kind of mentioned graphic design. What current studies are you taking up at this time? What are maybe some other activities on campus besides softball that you take part in?
All right. I've been here for quite a while, honestly. I'm in my 6th year at Minot State, so I've definitely seen a lot, experienced a lot. I have also received my bachelor's degree in that time frame.
Awesome.
Which
Congrats.
is great. Thank you. I did my undergrad in graphic design. I had a fitness and wellness specialist minor and a social media concentration. So definitely got into a lot of different aspects of undergrad at Minot State. Loved all of it. Before that, I was a art education student, so I was in a lot of the education classes, which were great too. Just wasn't the best for me though. Loved graphic design, took the switch and ran with it. It was great. Along with that, I've been a part of the Sac Committee for athletics for a couple of years now, and it's great to see where that's going. I'm a part of the Native American Club on campus. I actually just got asked and confirmed that I'll be a part of the Graduate School Council.
Oh, sweet.
So that's fun, and with that, I'm in graduate school now, so that's why I'm still here.
Yeah, awesome. That seems like a heavy plate there, and but you mentioned the SAC committee. We actually just talked to Philip Green on our campus TV show yesterday. Tell us, what's that all about? What's it like for you being in that club, and as well as the other clubs too that you mentioned?
Being a part of SAC is beautiful, and I feel like it encompasses the phrase of being a part of something bigger than yourself. We do a lot of community outreach, fundraising, and a lot of awareness and getting involved with the community in a way. We bridge athletics with Minot. We help out as much as we can. We do a lot with Make-A-Wish, so it's definitely fun to be a part of that group and to also bring an outlet for athletes to bring any problems, issues, or good things that they see going on with Minot State and the community. So definitely fun being a part of that. The Native American Club's great. Annette oversees that. You catch her on the 3rd floor of the Student Center. She's a great woman, looks out for all of her students, and was giving us safe space and anything that we could need to be more successful as students. I was a part of the art club too, just from being an art student. I've been a part of a lot overall in my time being here, but it's definitely fun to get involved. It's fun. I strongly believe in making the most of every experience you have because you only have it once.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Um, so what would you say is kind of some of your successful projects, whether it was in the classroom with art or graphic design, or um, maybe it was in any of the clubs that you're in? What would you say is your most successful project that you've done?
Honestly, I love the art department. Going through that and getting to finish out my degree with constructing my final portfolio and capstone, that was probably a highlight just because it's also the finish line. Like I said, I'd been here for 6 years, and when I graduated, it was 5. So it was great to finally get to cross the finish line and make some of my best work. And if anything, I do miss having those late nights here in Hartnett Hall, but I definitely like where my career is going, and I love the choices that I've made and degrees that I've chosen.
Awesome. So I guess there's just kind of a little bit of breathing room for you here. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Given what you've accomplished so far.
I would say so. I know with my undergrad, I was putting in crazy hours for art projects and practices and everything was in person at the time too. So with doing my master's degree now, everything's online, and we only do 2 courses each quarter, so definitely have a lot more breathing room and still manage to find ways to fill that up, which is great.
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to talk about. I don't want to jump too far for you, but for the future, what do you hope to accomplish the rest of the way through from this point on moving forward? I know you already have your bachelor's, but what other goals that you have in mind? And it can be in either academics or in softball or both even.
Um, Not gonna lie, I do want to play pro fast pitch, so whether that's overseas or in the
Nice.
US, I definitely still want to pursue that. As far as education goes, I love to learn. I enjoy being immersed into new things, although it's scary. I kind of like that, and it's always good to learn new things. I do want to pursue my PhD at some point, so that's on the goals list for sure. But once I finish with my master's degree, I definitely want to travel. That's another big thing for me. I want to see a lot of the world. I've seen a lot of the US in my 23 years of being alive, but I definitely want to go overseas and see Europe once that's feasible.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time being able to get to know some more bits of the world for you, and just a lot of traveling and a lot of just a lot of discovery, kind of. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely think you're on track there. And once you do, in fact, leave MSU, what impression do you want to leave on the team and the school once you become of that alumni status?
Um, I I love Minot State. I always have and always will, and I just want to be able to leave behind a legacy where my teammates essentially beat me out. I don't do what I do for myself. I do it so people want to do better than me. And I'm not perfect, but I know in my time being here, I've learned a lot, and I just want to share that. And as I said with you earlier, if you ever need anything, you could always ask me. I'm always open to helping out anybody and everybody, and I just love it. I'm here to serve, not necessarily to excel for myself.
Awesome. Well, students, if you ever need anything from ISIS, she is definitely open for contact. And I guess um, with that in mind, how can people contact you, whether it be social media, or where can the team, or I should say, where can people find the team on social media?
So Minot State softball team does have social media. I'd say we're the most active with our Instagram page. It's Minot State Softball. And for myself, my social medias are all the same. It's Isis Cabral 10. So that's probably the best way to reach me. If you see me around campus, you can definitely stop me, say hi, or ask whatever you need. Yeah, always open to it.
Well, there you have it. Minot sports fans can definitely reach out to ISIS there, and catch the latest from MSU Softball and ISIS, we can't thank you enough for being on the show today. We learned lots of great things with not just the softball team, but also the work you've been putting in, not just on the field, but also in the classroom, persevering. That's a really key point there in your career. We're very happy to have heard about that here on the show. So yeah, that's some great work there, Isis. But yeah, thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And you just heard Isis Cabral here on the Minot Sports Podcast. That's going to do it for episode 4 of the MSU Athlete series. Again, the podcast is sponsored by KMSU TV and radio. We are very fortunate to be working in their studios each and every time we record. And with that said, Minot Sports fans, that was episode 4 of the MSU Athlete series. Again, I am your host, Cole Clementich. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Have a good day and stay safe and healthy out there.